Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, where each week I'm giving you tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do as you discover, develop, and deploy your own unique Black Belt leader within. Now, I'm a history buff, and if, like me, you love studying military history, you probably know the story of the 300 Spartans. We saw that not too many years ago displayed in an incredible movie about the 300. Now, these are the elite warriors who withstood the might of the Persian army at Thermopylae, and they did so for almost 3 days. These were elite, battle tested warriors who fought as a single unit. They waged a military campaign that still today is studied in military circles. Now, to me, the Spartans were one of the original elite special forces combat, and their warrior ethos continues to inspire special forces units, not only here in the United States, but around the world. But what does it take to be an elite special forces team member? And what can you and I learn from their quest to become one of the best of the best? Well, I hope you'll stick with me for the next few moments as I ask and help you answer a very specific question. Are you a right fit? I want to share with you some life lessons from SEAL Team 6. Now, when somebody says U.S. Special Forces, what comes to mind? Maybe it's Delta Force. Maybe it's Navy SEALs. Maybe it's Green Beret or it's Army Rangers. But did you know, and I didn't till I did some research, there's also the Marine Raiders. There are the Night Stalkers, and there's the 24th Special Tactics Squadron. So what do? Well, Delta Force serves as the U.S. Army's primary counterterrorism and hostage rescue unit. The Green Berets, they're masters of unconventional warfare. They specialize in foreign internal defense and guerrilla warfare tactics. The Army Rangers are an elite light infantry group. They specialize in rapid response force, airfield seizures, and direct raids. Now, the Marine Raiders are a dedicated special operations force, and they're built for direct action and counterterrorism. The Night Stalkers are elite aviators. They provide precise and complex helicopter support for night missions. The 24th Special Tactical Squadron is the Air Force's elite Tier 1 unit. They provide combat control, rescue, and weather support. But among the most specialized of all the Tier 1 Special Missions units is DevGru, whose DevGru, they're commonly known as SEAL Team 6. This is the Navy's elite maritime counterterrorism and special operations unit. Now, this is the very elite combat force that killed Osama bin Laden in 2011, and recently they rescued a downed pilot that was sheltering in Iran's Zagros Mountains in April 2026. But even to apply for SEAL Team 6, lots are required. The candidate must be a seasoned, proven professional. Now, many military entry tracks provide a direct pipeline for civilians, but not so with SEAL Team 6. Candidates are exclusively hand-picked sharks that are scouted from within the Navy's elite communities. Now, this individual, this candidate, to even be considered, they've got to be an elite active duty SEAL, a Navy EOD tech, or a special amphibious reconnaissance corpsman. They've got to have a minimum of 4 to 6 years of experience and must have completed at least 2 combat deployments with excellent reviews. They've also got to be able to hold a top secret and sensitive compartmented information clearance. And once these individuals are invited to apply, they are physically and psychologically screened before they're given an opportunity to enter Green Team training. Now, the Green Team is a 6 to 8 month grueling operational selection and training course where the best of the best are discovered. Candidates must be able to demonstrate elite surgical skill under mental fatigue. Instructors monitor every single movement, and a single lapse in situational awareness can result in an immediate drop from the program. And less than 50% of all of those who make it to Green Team ever make it to SEAL Team 6. So only the elite of the elite get the opportunity to serve as an elite member of SEAL Team 6. The candidates who are dropped along the way are simply told, thank you very much, but you're not a right fit. Now, today's lesson isn't about becoming a Navy SEAL. There's a lot to that, and I don't want to spend a story on that. But what I do want to talk about is the story of how you become a Navy SEAL in everyday life, how you become the type of person every elite organization hopes to find. Because when we look at the competitive world today, organizations that want to succeed on the highest level, they're not just asking the question, can this person perform? They're asking a more important question. Is this person a right fit for the organization, the team, and the job? So, like SEAL Team 6, the elite of elite when it comes to businesses today are looking for the elite of elite. Individuals with a unique skill set who can perform at a very high level, but who can also help other team members do the same. Because elite organizations today understand something that many businesses today often overlook or ignore. You know, every applicant has some talent, they've got some training, and they've got some experience. And those qualities may get your foot in the door, but they may not get you a seat at the table. And if they do get you a seat at the table, you may not sit there for long because today, talent alone isn't enough. Because when the mission is too important to fail, an organization doesn't simply want the most talented people. What they want are the right people. They're looking for the elite of the elite. And when I'm talking about elite, I'm not just talking about a level of talent. I'm talking about a standard of daily behavior. Now, this is perhaps one of the most important leadership lessons when it comes to engaging and working with business or as part of a team that you and I ever have the opportunity to learn. And it doesn't matter whether we're building a business or we're leading a family, or maybe we're running a martial arts school, maybe we're coaching a team, or maybe we're simply deciding what type of person we ultimately want to become. Every single day, you and I have to have a moment in the mirror with ourselves, and we've got to answer a singular nagging question. Am I the right fit? Now, when green team member instructors, when they're meticulously observing SEAL Team 6 candidates, what are they looking for? They're looking for very specific qualities. And among the qualities they're looking for is excellence and character. They're looking to determine if the candidate is going to embrace and live out the culture that has to permeate the team, because that is essential for that team to complete its mission. You know, every elite organization, every elite business today is really looking for the same thing in the candidates that they're evaluating. They're looking for people who are men and women who possess a set of character and values that align with the organization's culture. They're really looking for people who are living their lives, you guessed it, with black belt excellence. Now, as we think about this process and becoming a right fit, I believe there are three distinct phases that we go through to become a right fit for any elite organization. And that could include your own business. First, you got to earn a right and earn the privilege to get a place on the team. Second, you got to prove that you deserve to stay on the team. And third, you got to demonstrate that you can make those on the team that are surrounding you better. So becoming a right fit starts with getting an invitation. So how do you earn a place on the team? You know, I recently spent time with one of the coaches of the USA martial arts team. And as I was talking with him, he was sharing with me that the candidates that ultimately make the team have to apply. They have to go through a very rigorous screening process where their experience and their skills are tested. They must be able to demonstrate that they can perform under pressure. And I can tell you with many of the elite organizations I interact with today, the same is true when people are applying for position in those elite entities. And in addition to the experience and skill, candidates have got to be able to demonstrate they have the education, the training, and in some cases, they've got to have the credentials. Character, value, leadership capacity, and teachability are also examined because these individuals want to make sure the people they're considering are a right fit for the organization. You know, like a SEAL Team 6 instructor, the initial question that each and every elite organization is asking of a potential right fit candidate is, can they earn a place on the team? Now, the second phase of becoming a right fit is actually belonging. It's one thing to earn an invitation to join an elite organization, but becoming indispensable to the organization is something entirely different. Maybe you know that roughly 30 to 35% of all drafted NFL rookies, they're cut before week one. Out of 257 players drafted each year, 80 to 90 fail to make it to their team's initial 53 count roster before the final August cuts. So it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to prove that you belong, to prove that you deserve a right to stay on the team and contribute in a meaningful way. You know, comedian Steve Martin summed it up well when he said, "Be so good, they can't ignore you." Now, the third phase of becoming a right fit is all about multiplication. This is leadership at its finest. The ultimate test of becoming a right fit isn't whether or not you're good enough to make the team or whether or not you can contribute in a meaningful way. While those are important, the ultimate test is how much better you can make everyone around you, how much better they can become because they're spending time with you. If you look at an NFL rookie player, when they join a football team, they're paired with a seasoned veteran, often in the twilight of their career, and that seasoned veteran serves as a mentor. Now, that mentor's role is not to compete for the starting position, but it's to share their wisdom, their knowledge, their insight, and their experience to help accelerate the learning curve of that rookie. That allows that rookie to contribute to the team on a more meaningful level and to do so faster than they would have on their own. Once a SEAL Team 6 candidate passes the green team, they're assigned to a specific color squadron and they're paired with a senior operator. Now, these senior team members, what do? They pass on tribal knowledge, they pass on real world combat experience, and they pass on unwritten operational habits to accelerate the learning curve of a new team member so they can contribute at the highest level. And it's in this third phase of becoming a right fit that the conversation begins to shift from how can I become the best? And it actually shifts to how can we become the best? It's really about making the transition from being a high performer to becoming an elite performer. When somebody starts training in the martial arts, and I've talked about this before, the initial goal for most students is to earn that coveted black belt. And about 2% of those that start actually finish. But earning your yellow belt simply means you made the team. But as you move through the ranks, you begin to demonstrate that you belong. You're embracing the martial arts culture of discipline, of respect, of courtesy, and of leadership. But here's what's interesting that happens along the way. You begin to realize that earning the black belt doesn't mean you've arrived. It only means that you've demonstrated the discipline and the character and the technical proficiency that's required to start learning at a deeper and more meaningful level. And it's also about midway through that you come to realize it's not about the trophies or the medals that you've won, but it's about the lives you're changing and the lives you're going to change as you continue to pass on the knowledge that you're learning. Black belt leaders understand their role is this: to equip and train the people who will one day take their place. And that's not only true in the martial arts, that's true in business and it's true in life. Elite leaders, when we think about the elite leaders in the world today, they don't just build successful careers. They don't just build successful organizations. They build successful people. It's not just about aggregating great talent on the team. It's about cultivating excellence in every single team member. Earning the trident, which is the mark of becoming a SEAL Team 6 member, that's just the beginning of true mastery. At this point, they've already demonstrated they've got the talent or they wouldn't even be considered. But earning the trident means something unique. It means the candidate has had to shed their ego as they move beyond just becoming the best themselves to demonstrating how they can help the other team members also become the best and how that group of individuals can work as one. What I love about SEAL Team 6 members is they don't seek personal glory or medals. Success to a SEAL is defined by the mission's quiet execution. It's defined by the survival of the team member to their left and to their right. A single team member, no matter how stellar or how talented they are, they can't fix a broken mission. And for the mission to be successful, the entire unit has to move as a cohesive team. They have to operate as one. So senior operators dedicate a significant amount of time to mentoring the new guys on the team. Their goal is to pass on institutional knowledge so those new team members can not only just survive, but they and the team can thrive. Team members intentionally train their subordinates to assume their roles and their responsibilities in the event they are injured or killed in the line of duty. What are they doing? They're truly training the people who will one day take their place. Now, SEAL Team 6 leaders, they understand this. The ultimate test of leadership is how well that squad is going to perform when the leader's no longer in the room. It's about contributing to a lasting legacy of leadership, adding their collective wisdom and knowledge to those individuals who are going to lead at some point in the future. And for those individuals, it's about ensuring that future leaders are a right fit for the next generation of SEAL Team 6. So when you think about it, any elite organization, any elite business like SEAL Team 6, they understand something that most businesses overlook or ignore. Remember, every applicant has some talent. They've got some level of training and they've got some level of experience. And while it may get their foot in the door, it may not earn them a seat at the table or keep them seated for long. Remember, talent alone isn't enough. Because when the mission is too important to fail, don't forget, organizations aren't simply looking for the most talented people. They're looking and they're choosing the right people. They're looking for the elite of the elite. And don't forget, elite is not just a level of talent. It is a standard of daily behavior. Now, I want you to think about this. Every elite military unit, every elite business, every elite family, and every elite leader, they all have a mission. They all have a calling. They all have a purpose. It's not a question of talent alone because everybody has some level of talent, training, and experience. The question that matters most is this. When the mission really matters, are you the right fit? Because when most organizations are entertaining candidates for any role in their company, they're asking a very simple question. Can this person do the job? Now, to me, that's an important question, but I believe there are two deeper, more meaningful questions that every organization should be asking and making sure they're getting the right answer. Here are those two questions. Question one, will this person strengthen the culture of this organization? Question number two, will this person make everyone on the team better? Elite organizations like SEAL Team 6, again, they understand something that most organizations overlook or ignore. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Every single applicant, and that could include you, you've got some talent, you've got some training, you've got some experience. And that talent, that training, and that experience might get your foot in the door. It might even earn you a seat at the table, but you might not sit there for long. Because you got to understand, as good as you are, your talent alone is not enough. Because when the mission is too important to fail, elite leaders aren't simply choosing the most talented people. Who are they choosing? They're choosing the elite of the elite. They're looking for the right people who are the right fit for the mission at hand. And remember, elite isn't just a level of talent. It's a standard of daily behavior. So being a right fit, what does it look like? Well, being a right fit isn't measured by personal achievement alone, because we all have successes that we can lean on. Being a right fit is measured by the people you develop and the culture that you leave behind. It's about the lives you're changing and the lives you're going to change in the future and the legacy that remains once you're no longer there. Black belt leaders and SEAL Team 6 squad members, they all share a common core DNA. And that common core DNA is not about earning the highest rank or earning the elite status of even becoming a member of the elite team. It's about the transformation that takes place in you as you transition from simply being a skilled performer to a selfless mentor who measures success by the lives you've changed, the leaders you've equipped, and the people you've empowered to one day take your place. You know, the greatest compliment that anybody can receive is not that you're the smartest person in the room or even the most talented person in the room. The greatest compliment that a right fit person can receive is this: when everything was on the line and when the mission mattered most, you were exactly the right person to have on the team. So let me leave you with this, and I'm going to borrow from one of my favorite movie series, Mission Impossible. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is not to focus on becoming famous or important or even successful. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to become the type of leader whose presence, influence, and inspires the people around you to become a better version of who they are and what they do. Now, that's what elite black belt leaders do, and they do it every single day. Elite black belt leaders, they raise the standard. They sharpen other people. They multiply leaders, and they strengthen the culture. They embrace their role as a mentor, equipping the people who will one day take their place. So let me leave you with this. If your family, if your business, if your team, or if your community were assembling their own version of an elite team, would your daily habits, would your character, would your attitude, and would your personal leadership make you the obvious choice for selection? Because you got to remember, just because you're the most talented or gifted doesn't mean you're going to be selected. You're going to be selected because you're a right fit. My challenge to you is train accordingly. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.